You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Are you ready? I'm saying, are you ready? Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Right, Chris.
All right. Hello. Good evening. Good day. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good night. Goodbye. Hello. Welcome along. It's Sloppy Seconds. It is because, and I am wearing this top and this hat in honour of the fact that it was the FA Cup fourth round draw earlier. If you were with me then and you're with me now, like I say, Sloppy Seconds, welcome back. If you're not, welcome along. If you haven't seen it yet, I mean, Dave has his finger on the pulse, and the problem is I don't think that pulse he ever gets a reading. Just to let Dave know what's going on. We've got Hull City or Birmingham City in the next round, but we are at home, so we're going to be talking about that as well as many other things as well during the course of the evening. If you are new, please do subscribe, and if you're new or not, or even if you're old, please smash the likes button. It does really help the channels. It gets us seen in places where we're not normally seen, like behind the bushes at Vicky Park on a Sunday night, but we won't go into that. Look, I've got a few guests with me. We've got a special guest as well. But first of all, let me bring my first guest on. What can I say? Lovely blonde hair, good looking, always polite and a pleasure to talk to. Dave, how you doing, mate?
Oh, me? Yes. Yes, I was expecting the other gorgeous blonde. You know,
Do you mean there's two? I mean... How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I didn't watch the cup draw.
Well, I was live. You
Sorry, mate. I didn't realise.
You can come on and support me, but
Thank
do
you.
you? No, you don't.
I will.
You don't support.
Hey, I listened from 7 o'clock in the morning. What more do you want?
Yeah, it's only because you're of an age where you have to get up that early because your bladder wakes you up.
At the moment, that's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. To do
That is true. Unfortunately, that's why I do the morning radio show, because I'm always up at that time as well.
No, good, thanks.
Have a good Christmas, sir.
Yeah, good.
And of course, Happy New Year to you.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. We should have had a party or something, shouldn't we?
We should have had a New Year's quiz.
Yeah, good point.
That's after I say success of the Christmas one.
I don't think you'd have asked me back though, to be honest.
Certainly, you wouldn't have asked Craig back, otherwise we'd still be here next New Year. But anyway,
I thought you joked about Craig, but it's brilliant. I mean,
he goes on. You think I can talk? He goes off on one complete utter. He's worse than you, Dave. Let me just say that.
He's a guy that you want to be in the pub with, isn't he? Really, because you wouldn't have to speak.
He lives down the road from me. We've been trying to arrange a drink for about 6 months.
Fantastic! Yeah.
All we're doing is talking about it. Surprise. But anyway, talking about sausages, and I think we were. Let's bring in the lady that loves to have play a little game of hide the sausage. Let's see. Yes, she is. Kate, good evening.
Hi, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Did you have plenty of sausages over the Christmas period?
Absolutely, it'd be rude not to, wouldn't it?
Well, I think so. And what about Brussels?
Brussels, not so much, no. Although every time I have a Brussels, I think of Dave. I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. But
Is that bad?
Hang on. I'm just going to have to. So every time you have a Brussels, you think of Dave.
That's not a euphemism.
Oh.
I'm just thinking what Brussels look like. Shall we move on and bring our very special guest in, who we don't think about whenever we think about sausages or Brussels, but it's always a pleasure to have him on. Neil, sir, good evening. How are you? Happy New Year to you, sir.
Happy New Year. Yeah, thanks for having me on the channel. I've not been introduced as a special guest, but no, appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
And you've got a clean introduction. Take advantage of it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Beyond the 90 is where you're from, a great Leicester channel. Guys, go over and subscribe. But Neil, tell us how people can find you, though.
I mean, you just did a pretty good job. Beyond the 90. Let's get straight into it.
Yep, there we go. There we go. Twitter and YouTube, I'm sure other social media platforms as well. Well, look, it is the debate show, so I suppose in a way we ought to start with the debate. So let me just see if this will work. I'm not sure if it will because I've just lost everything.
Oh.
Marbles.
Yeah, they went years ago.
There we go. There we go. Okay. And I should say, of course, do not forget, what day is it today, Kate?
Monday.
And what day is it tomorrow?
Tuesday.
Well, of course, if you've got nothing to do on a Tuesday in the afternoon, why don't you check out? Exactly. bbc.com/LCFC, and you will see Fan's Voice every Tuesday afternoon. It's me, Neil. It's me. And giving my thoughts on the January transfer window. Thank you for that, leading me into that there, Kate. I thought you realised what was coming. But
I thought you were treating me like Craig David there.
Yeah. I think what's after Tuesday, Wednesday, and it just kept going and going and going. And then that's one way to stretch out a podcast, Chris.
Well, I've had plenty of practice. And if you want to find out what Dave puts in his fridge, including his nuts and his bananas, check out the LTID TV TikTok page. Please do not follow my personal one because I will just ignore you because that is just for me and my family. But the football one, LTID TV, just scan that there. That's the easy thing to do. And you will be able to catch up on all the little mishaps and quotes. And I think 80% of it, Kate, is actually Dave.
Oh, really?
Well, you with your big roll of kitchen paper over Christmas.
You're never going to let me forget that. You just keep dragging it up. You're just like a woman.
I was just so impressed, Dave. I tell you what.
The speed I moved.
No, the fact that I now know why Kathy's always got a smile on her face. Anyway, look.
My Australian family were there as well. So
right, FA Cup 4th round draw. We have got Hull or we have got Birmingham who've got to go to a replay. Let's start with our special guest, Neil. My money was on Liverpool, Man City, or Chelsea, but not a bad draw, and it's at home for once.
I mean, it's normally in a season it'd be quite nice to have a championship team if we were in the Premier League. I would have rather us have like even maybe not a top 6 team because I would have somebody around me like a Brentford or something like that. I would really be interested to see what we could do against them at this stage in the season. But again, from having Hull or Birmingham, let's be Avenue kind of thing. I'm not too, as long as we rotate and we're concentrating on the league, I'm not too bothered about the cup this year.
Sorry, Neil. No, it's on Filbert Way, not Let's Be Avenue.
What have you done to yourself, Neil?
He's let us all down, to be fair, Dave. He's let us all down.
It doesn't get any better, Neil. So do carry on.
How am I supposed to carry on after that? No, but I think normally a championship the whole point of the FA Cup is that you get somebody a little bit different. We've just come up against people that we're playing already this season. So I'm a little bit disappointed, but at the same time, look, it's not the main priority. And I'll take it. It would have been really good to see what we could do against a Premier League team. But again, beggars can't be choosers at this moment in time. We're in a good position. Just take that, I'd say.
Yeah. Kate, I mean, I think we spoke about this before. Yes, we would like we want to win every game, of course we do. We're unlikely to win the FA Cup, so it doesn't matter how far we go in it. But I suppose if we going out to a Premier League team, if it was, and we didn't play badly against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. That would be the only thing. If we went out maybe to Birmingham City, it would be a little bit of a sour taste.
Yeah, I think so. I'm quite happy with the draw. I didn't want a Premier League team 4th round pick. I don't mind that later on, but I'd just like us to get a bit of a run because it gets players that are otherwise cold and on the fringes at the moment a bit warmer and a bit more match fit, like we saw at the weekend. It gives Cassidy more minutes. It gives Cody more minutes. I myself thought we were going to get Liverpool at Anfield, and I've been absolutely raging. But I was glad to get a decent opposition. I'm glad to be at home. I was really hoping for Wrexham, but maybe next round. And there's quite a lot of Premier League fixtures actually, so there'll be half the Premier League teams gone. But yeah, I understand what Neil's saying, but I'd like that a bit later on if we can get to the next round or the one after.
Dave, I mean, let's just have a look. As Kate mentioned there, I mean, some of the draws, all right, I don't mind Premier League teams getting each other. Fulham, Newcastle, Sheffield United, Brighton, Palace no, that's not one. Tottenham, Manchester City, Chelsea, Aston Villa. The thing is, we know that these are going to be on TV, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's good to see them knock each other out, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Ready for the 6th round.
It's like when, we could watch Tottenham play Man City on TV anytime.
Well, I wouldn't watch it, to be honest.
Well,
but
see what I'm going to put up with here, Neil.
I'm with Dave, though, because at the end of the day, you want it to be interesting. Because as somebody that supports a team outside the top 6, as soon as it gets to semi-final, it's just Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea. It just becomes boring. And even them teams, they're not too interested in it because they've got, we're in the Champions League. We're going for the Premier League. They don't see the cup. Like when we won it, it meant the world to us. When an outside a top 6 team, I remember a couple of years ago when Crystal Palace went quite a way as well. And I was like, I really wish they'd go all the way to the final or all the way and win it. There's a little bit of a camaraderie, I'd say, to anybody that's an underdog. Yeah, and I'm just, for me, it's like, I'd rather them play each other now, get one of them knocked out, and then make it so, I don't know, like a Man City or maybe not Chelsea as much now, but they won't appreciate how much it would mean to them compared to a smaller fan base. And some fans, when you remember, Chris, or you guys remember, I never thought we'd win the FA Cup, and that meant the absolute world to me. The fact that we did. I just want other fan bases to experience that as well. So the sooner they can knock each other out, the better.
Do you think, though, Kate? And I don't, as I say, let them play each other by all means, but we know that the main game they're going to be fighting over Manchester City, Tottenham Hotspur, aren't they?
Yeah,
and it's there at most. If they play each other, any weekend, it's probably going to be on Sky.
Yeah,
they're not teams that
the only
need the
fixture
money.
that looks a bit more TV worthy is it looks like Man U are winning at the moment, and they've got Newport or Eastleigh away. So that's the only potential sort of David versus Goliath fixture that's on the board potentially. But yeah, I mean, remember back in the 90s where Newcastle got Stevenage, and that's exactly what the FA Cup was about. Like Arsenal, Liverpool yesterday, there wasn't any goals till late on, and no one wants to see it because we see it twice a year anyway. So the TV are getting things a bit wrong. That's not what the FA Cup's about. The FA Cup's about grassroots football. You get a guaranteed percentage of the ticket sales, no matter whether it's home or away, don't you? And it's just more rewarding and beneficial for those smaller clubs to make it through to TV.
I mean, Dave, I get to a point ITV, TNT and Sky because they want advertisers on, so they want to show the big game because that probably is going to get the bigger audience. But then again, like you say, the likes of you and me won't be watching Man City Tottenham because I've got no interest in it.
No.
But if it's Eastleigh Man United, yes, I would, because it's Eastleigh. The BBC though, where they're not dependent on viewing figures, surely they should have they should be the ones that are showing the smaller teams that need the revenue.
Well, tell me if I'm wrong, but yesterday, was there any afternoon games on BBC? The 2 o'clock
Yeah,
kickoff?
Arsenal. Wasn't Liverpool Arsenal?
No, that was later on.
It
That
was
was at
evening.
night.
Oh, the evening.
Forward.
Okay.
No, there wasn't during the afternoon. No,
There
not
were,
on
what, 4
BBC.
FA Cup games Sunday afternoon, and not one was on BBC. And this is the channel that pretends that they are the FA Cup stars, and they do all this and that. They've destroyed the FA Cup in the media, from the draw to everything. You know, it's like, I mean, I don't watch the draw today because over the years I've got sick of it.
To be honest with you, I watched the draw, and all I could think about all the way through that draw that Joey Barton was probably shitting himself because there was a woman making the draw and a woman
That did
presenting
cross
it.
my mind as well.
Yeah, I mentioned it on the show. I'm like, yeah, get in there.
But
He's living in my head. He's living in my head.
it's not her fault, but generally, if it was a bloke doing it, Pugac or somebody like that, it'd be the same. And here we have Birmingham. Oh, yeah, finished so in the league last year, got to the cup final in 1947. I mean, it's just rubbish, isn't it? Who cares? Their coach's wife slept with the manager or something, I mean, it's all the ridiculous
I didn't catch
facts.
that addition.
Yeah, no, it's all the ridiculous
Red button.
facts they give us, to try and make us more interested. I mean, it just drives me nuts. It really does. I mean, and so finished. Have got to 6 FA Cups in their history, and I mean, honestly, do we care? I mean,
Yeah.
even
It's
supporters
still
don't
but
care.
I don't understand because it's the BBC. It's not like they got adverts or anything. Just shorten it.
But they also put the numbers up, and that winds me up. I don't want to see the numbers. I want the excitement of when I used to sneak out of work and sit in the car on Monday at 12:30 and listen to it on the radio. That was what it was all about. Because you didn't know who was coming next. Now they say, this number one is Arsenal. Well, not actually this year, is it? Number one is Chelsea.
Today, which I wasn't
Will
keen
we?
on.
No, but I mean, I know I'm old-fashioned and that, but I just found that much more exciting than what they do now.
Yeah,
what were you nodding at?
There's no element of surprise anymore in the media. They always take that away from you. Like with anything that's ever released, whether it's TV shows, whatever it is, even at the beginning of a TV show now, they show you what's coming up in that TV show. It's like, you've got me, I'm watching it. You don't need to show me the preamble.
It's even in politics, isn't it? We know what the budget's going to be before it happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
We know what Sunak's going to say before he thinks about it. I mean, it's just absolutely wrong. And people are fed up with it.
Dave's sat-nav was broken again. But
yeah, I hope Eastleigh are on the telly. I want Eastleigh to be on the telly. That's the FA Cup tie, isn't it?
That's what it is all about. And by the way, just say, if anybody just tuned in, welcome along to all our yesterdays. Neil, Jeff Stelling.
We can learn from all our yesterdays, I tell you.
Jeff Stelling said on Talk Sport the other day that the Premier League teams should be seeded, or all the teams should be seeded, so that Eastleigh will get a big team. Because in fairness, let's say Wigan were to beat Man United, unlikely. Well, I don't know. It probably is quite likely this season, and Eastleigh were to beat Newport. It's not exactly a big draw for Eastleigh, is it, hosting Wigan? No disrespect to Wigan. But if there's some sort of seeding, then these smaller teams will be guaranteed bigger games.
It kind of makes sense, but where do you cut the line? Because again, somebody's going to be able to go, well, why are they not allowed and I am? So where do you cut it off? Probably League One, League Two, and then you go, because a Championship, you could have like a Premier League team, and then it's the bureaucracy of it, isn't it? Because where do you draw the line?
You see, I thought about this. You see, I knew you'd come back to me with this point, and what I would say is, look, if you've got, let's say, for example, 28 teams, and I know it's probably not, but 28 teams in the draw, the top placed 14 are the seeded ones.
Sure, and that would just be at that moment in time in the Premier League.
Yes.
Okay, it
Does
could
that
make
mean-
sense. But
Does
then you're
that mean
looking at the
Liverpool
sides.
wouldn't beat Arsenal?
No,
You're more
but
likely to
somebody
get.
would have the chance to play Arsenal or Liverpool.
But why we moan like crap when Chelsea always get a home draw? I don't know what they've got this time, but everyone wins. Oh, Chelsea drawn at home again in the FA Cup. What a surprise! So,
They're at home again.
They are. They're at home to Aston Villa. Another
There you
TV game.
Yeah.
But look,
And
that's
don't knock Wigan, Chris. They won the FA Cup.
yes, they did. They did. As indeed
In the same
did,
season.
of course, a certain team from the East Midlands.
Leicester Till I Die TV. The home of the FA Cup winners 2021. Oh, and we have a Premier League trophy too.
You've
I
got
just
it.
want to be there
Brag
next
about
time. That was all.
Just what? Sorry.
I've been waiting all my life for that FA Cup final win, and I couldn't go.
No, I know.
I want to go to the next one.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
1969, last FA Cup I went
Very
to.
quickly though, at home to Hull or Birmingham, who would you sooner play, Neil?
I'm not too bothered. Does that sound too bad? I'm genuinely not too bothered.
No.
Whoever we get, I just want them to have a go and get through to the next round. So that's the problem. If it was a Premier League team, I remember a few years back when, oh God, about 10, 12 years ago, we played, I think in the FA Cup, we played Fulham, and I think we beat them 4-3. And I was thinking, if we go to the Premier League, we could. This is what that excited me. This kind of just, again, if it was last season, it would have excited me a little bit more because it's a team that we wouldn't play in the season. Because we've played Birmingham already, we kind of know I know they've changed the manager now, and Hull, we kind of know what they're expecting. But I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me.
Kate, who would you sooner have?
It's in about a month, isn't it? Is that when the
At the end of this, the 27th of 27th of January.
Well,
I was
I really-
actually hoping for a London away team because I'm in London that weekend.
Oh, okay. Well, I was hoping
Redraw. Just do a redraw now because of you,
Yeah,
Chris.
why not?
the new manager bounce may have evaporated from Birmingham, but maybe not by that point. So I'm a bit with Neil. I'm a bit indifferent, to be honest. But I suppose Birmingham are the likely sort of underdog, aren't they? But they could have a turn in four. Before Rooney took over, they were fifth. So they've got decent players in there. And Hull are doing okay, aren't they? They're just about in the playoffs. So
Yeah. And one of the few teams that have beaten us as well.
yeah, so I'll probably say Birmingham, I think.
Dave, do you have any preference? Now
No.
you know who we're playing?
No. And I mean, we should win fairly easily. It should be a doddle. But then any of you guys that was at the Wickham game or the Harlow games,
I did say in the show
nothing's a
earlier,
doddle.
I was hoping for Ensley at home, but then again, I did shout out and say I wanted Wickham at home. Yeah,
Oh,
how it goes wrong.
We owe
But
them one.
look, I want Birmingham, to be honest with you, because it's more of a derby game.
Well, you're not going to get them, Chris, because
Yeah,
Hull
but-
are going to win it.
You sound like somebody that's not from the Midlands, Chris. In reality, the West Midlands is its own thing. I get this from people that are like from other places. Oh, it's a derby in the Midlands, yeah, but the West Midlands is its own entity, and the East Midlands is their own entity. It's not really a rivalry. I don't really care about West Brom.
No,
Don't
but you see,
really
the
care
thing
about
is,
Birmingham
right,
City.
We
We
have
play
gone
them.
many years in the Premier League of not having a right. The nearest rivals at some point were Wolves, then it was Villa. They were the nearest we got until
But
Forest
nobody
came.
really cared, Chris.
No,
We
but
liked Wolves when they were doing well because it's like a team that's going to try and break the top six, and B, we look to the similar models. Them go, we could do what they could do. So I don't know. I don't personally. but
more
I've
of a
never-
derby than Hull.
It is, but it's
Yeah,
not really a derby.
exactly. It is.
Yeah, but we're like 2s and 3s out of 10s here. It's not really arguing over much.
He's not coming back on, I'll tell you. But no.
Not allowed an opinion.
What's your show, Neil?
Say it to Chris has spoken.
No, you are allowed an opinion. It's just you're wrong. No, I mean, I do take on board what you're saying. It's not like a Forest or a Derby or a Coventry. I will grant you that. But it's, to me, playing Birmingham, it just adds a bit more spice than playing Hull. If we're playing Hull, we could be playing anybody, but at least we're playing another Midland side.
Probably it's like Chelsea Fulham, isn't it? Chelsea don't care, but Fulham do. So that'll be it. Birmingham will care, but we really, we're going to beat them, so it doesn't matter.
And even in the West Midlands, they only care about, like, Wolves fans don't care about baggies. They're just not bothered, even though they're both West Midlands. They do care about Birmingham City. They both care about Birmingham City.
Technically West Midlands, although I'd suggest Wolverhampton's probably not. A bit too north, isn't it?
Black Country, isn't it?
Oh, Black Country, yeah.
But see, I'm from Nuneaton. I should have supported Coventry, but I slit my throat before I did that. So it was always an issue with Leicestershire and Warwickshire with us when we were going to Leicester. So when we were kids,
I mean, technically, though,
I think that times have gone, haven't they? Those times have gone there.
I mean, well, everybody says, "Oh, our biggest rivals were Forest and Derby." To be honest with you, it's your derby is against the nearest team to you, and that is Coventry. So that should be the derby game.
I always hated them more than Forest, I must say. Which is
I do, but no,
it's strange, isn't it?
But I know, I do get your point, Neil. I really do. But I just think, I'm grasping at something to try and add a bit of spice to the game. To be honest with you.
But let's say we go up to let's say we stay in the Championship and all of our closest rivals go up to the Premier League. Would we say Norwich would be our closest rival then? If they're the closest,
depends who is nearest to us.
If they are geographically the closest, would we go? Yes, Norwich is our closest rival.
But they're not in the Midlands, are they?
They're middle.
No, they're not. They're east.
They're east. Exactly.
They're middle of the country. If they're two-dimensional.
No, they're the east. It's
a bloody long way east. To tell you, I did Ipswich. It's a bloody long way east.
Yeah,
it is. It's just a pain in the backside. It's a lovely place, just in the middle of absolute nowhere.
Exactly.
Have you heard of a motorway?
I have been to, but let's move on.
If you really have a bad year, it'd be Skegness. I'm just checking.
Well, you got out your atlas there, Dave.
Yeah, just checking to see what.
He's got his atlas out to see what the nearest country is. Gibraltar. Yeah.
I don't know. I seem to have turned it into Thailand or something.
Right. Let's have a look at the game at the weekend. I don't want to discuss. We've done a review of the game itself, but Luke, and I'm going to quote Luke on this one. Our B team smashed Millwall's main team. Maybe that's a bit unfair to the players that were there, but there was a lot of changes. Who of the let's say call them B team because they're squad players, Neil, but not regular starters. Who impressed you?
The easiest answer is probably going to be Cassaday. To be honest, I thought he was his best game for us. I want to go for another player, though, that actually had his first. I've not actually seen too much. Ben Nelson, I didn't think did anything wrong in the game, really. Marcel failed to live up to standard. I think he left Callum Doyle too much on his own at times. And again, he was getting doubled up on. But I would mention Ben Nelson because I thought, considering he's 19 years old, he's got the physical, he's got the stature of it. He just needs to bulk out a little bit more. I was really impressed by him just because he didn't do anything glaringly wrong for the fact that he's 19 years old. I thought it was really impressive, to be honest.
No, I agree. He didn't really do anything wrong, like you say, did he, at all? Kate?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Nelson looked like he had a good game. I didn't catch all of the game. I was out and about second half a bit, but I've caught most of the highlights. But I thought Cannon, again, was exceptional. That finish for the goal was just... He's now got a bit of consistency with finishing to show you that it wasn't just a bit of a fluke or beginner's luck or a debutante's dream start. That the ball from Doyle was absolutely class. Yeah. But to finish it like he did, I mean, I know the keeper made a bit of a howler, really, but to finish it like he did, it was a damn hard thing to do. And he just looks like he's hit the ground running and he's bided his time and he's looking like he's firing for us nicely, which is great.
Looked like we've got a big cannon there, Kate.
We've got a big cannon.
Yes. Dave, anybody impress you? I know you're not an easy man to impress, but
no, I think it was just nice to see blasts from the past, like Mark Albrighton putting a lovely cross, the goal. I mean, that's always good to see when he comes in. He never lets us down, does he?
Not at all. No.
Cannon, yeah, it's obviously taking him a while to come in, and just generally, I think the way they fitted in. My only worry is that last goal again near the end. It's the same old story. We've talked about it so many times, but we seem to, I don't know, we seem to lose concentration when it matters.
Well, both were corners, weren't they? Which is
Yeah.
I
mean, do we man for man now? I don't know. Or zonal?
No, not zonal. Let's not go back there, please.
Whatever zone that man was in, no one was in.
No.
So the zone system isn't working.
He was completely unmarked, wasn't he?
So basic, isn't it? And that's what worries me when we come up against the better teams, because it is basic. And
But
that's
the
what
championship, the championship is more reliant on that old school style rather than the Premier League. But I'm with you. It's something that we mentioned coming into this season, the fact that corners are going to be more of a problem. And I still think Enzo's noticed it, is working on it. But going into the Premier League, I don't think it'll be as big of an issue as we think.
I'll just say welcome back to John. You want to say hello to him, Dave?
Hello, John. All right, mate. He's a cantankerous old Hinkley boy.
That's probably why he got blocked. But no, I mean, Neil, I mean, having watched that game, we did, look at the bench. The bench we had was scary. And we only actually called upon, of the big guns, if you like, Kieran Dewsbury Hall. I mean, yeah, Cassidy, look, indeed he's out till April. It looks like Cassidy's going to be asked to step up. To me, that was probably the best game that he'd had. Do you not think so?
I don't know if he's able to step up, because I think his best position is on that left-hand side. And if Kieran Dewsbury Hall's fit, he plays. Now, the question is who's on that right. And I think it's probably Yunus Akgün, who I think has a higher ceiling. And I think I can see the play and the quality that he gets to. But Cassidy, again, was good. And I think he's a good player. Yeah, I mean, in the summer, I'm interested to see who actually fills that position. But Wolf's out now. I don't think Cassidy comes onto the right. I think when he's come off, I believe they've taken Kieran Dewsbury Hall off. So they're both... there's a reason why he's picked him. So I think in the future he probably will play Cassidy, but I don't think he'll thrive on that right hand side. I think he'll probably play Yunus, and I think he's due a run of games because Cassidy has had his opportunities in terms of caps and minutes, where Yunus I think has been limited, and partly that is because Fatal has been so good as well. So yeah, I could see him, but it's his best game, and I'm happy for him. But especially since I don't think he's got a future with the squad, I don't see the point in playing him over Yunus, who's more likely to stay.
I mean, Kate, Enzo said that Yunus would not have got that goal. That is what he wanted Cassidy to do, which is get up there, use his height, get onto the end of Mark Albrighton's crosses, and he did just that. I don't know. Yunus didn't really impress me an awful lot, if I'm honest with you. Now, whether I'm sort of being blinded by Cassidy's goal or not, I don't know. But to me, when we're talking about man of the match after the game, two of us went for Cassidy as our man of the match. Two of us didn't, to make it fair. But I just think he was almost Winks-esque in that game because he was all over the pitch.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think I've seen one other game. I think it might have been the QPR game where Cassidy played really well. And that too was a really open game. It wasn't sort of a backs against the wall from the other team parking the bus kind of thing. I still think Cassidy, for the role that we want him to do, I'd much rather have Wilf or KDH in those positions. I don't think he's as physical as his height suggests he is. It was an absolute peach of a cross from Albrighton, and I think anybody would have buried it having been in that position. But you've got to be in that position. I think I've said to you before, I think Yunus looks to be our most skillful player on the ball. his lower centre of gravity and speed means he can weave in and out, which Cassidy would not be able to do. So I just think with players like Eunice, because his injury's been hampered and he's not been able to get in the team, those players tend to need warming up a bit. But yeah, I'm pleased for Cassidy, but I agree with Neil. Like I can't see him being with us beyond May. So, and Eunice to me looks the more creative player, whereas we've got Cassidy type players already in the squad, which are much better.
Dave, it's a lovely position to be in where we're going, well, we've got all these players are good, but we'd pick this one, we'd pick that one. Go back 12 months and it's, God, who are we going to pick?
Well, you look at it, what's the reason? We did our business early and we've got a manager who knows what he's doing in the backroom stuff, they know what they're doing. And they've made the other players play to the system. Yeah. And that would never happen last year. And that's the difference. We've got a guy who actually knows what he's doing there. It's incredible. I mean, I still worry about the defence. I don't think they've filled me with confidence at the best of time. But, you know, let's hope. I'm going to say, how long has it been? 5 months?
It's half the season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right
so
now.
5 months, isn't it? About. So, considering, you know.
And the three of them, you got to remember that Ben Nelson's his first start. Connor Cody's been injured and not played. And Callum Dorsh's coming back from injury as well. So I hear you. But at the same time, that is our second choice defence, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah,
at this point in time. So we've rotated a lot. And it's kind of what you were saying, the fact that they all came in. Remember we played, what was the name of that Welsh team? Was it Stockport and Puel? And he just chucked all those players together. And they had no idea what they were doing. And that was a better quality team than that team that actually played at the weekend. And we lost to Stockport. And rightfully so, they were the better team overall. But it shows you just because you have those players, and he's giving starts to some of the academy lads, which, again, as a Leicester fan, I want to see. I want to see these lads have a run out if possible as well. And we're giving them the opportunity. And yes, it wasn't brilliant, and it's not the finished article compared to the first team, but I'm really just enjoying I'm enjoying us not being terrible as well. It's just nice, just going. Yeah. After last season, it was just awful. Everything was awful. It's just nice just to have a breath. I think I said to you before. It's nice just not being crap.
Yeah. John, by the way, we'll save the question till the end when we'll put sort of viewers' questions to the panel. So I'm not ignoring the question. We'll come back to it at the end. But Neil, I mean, you said with that defence, they haven't played together as a back three at all. And to say, let's be honest with you, over the last few seasons, and no disrespect to them, we'll call them the B team because it's the easiest thing to call them, and I know that they're not, but we'll just call them that for ease. How often have we put a B team out where it's basically thinking these players are just not good enough to stand up? Every one of those players in that team, that squad, or on that pitch at the weekend, I would not be worried about any of them stepping onto that pitch for a league game.
Yeah, I'm with you, and as well as that, Hamza Chowdhury I think did well. Oh, he's not the level of Winks, but he came in and did a solid job, which is why he was given the contract. Stolarczyk, bearing in mind he's been on loan for a little bit. I think he had a really good game as well.
I thought he had a brilliant game.
Genuinely, really I think he had a really good game. So you're mentioning the back three, and I'm with you, but it's the whole kind of Enzo likes to see like a 5 and a 5. So Ricardo, we know how amazing he is for supporting Leicester for so many years. Hamza was solid, did what he needed to do. Stolarczyk was, again, when called upon, made some great saves in the game, even though for the majority of the game, didn't really have a lot to do, which is a sign of a good keeper. And bearing in mind, he's with the academy. He's gone from the academy up to the first team, playing championship football, playing against Liverpool. And I actually think he was pretty good against Liverpool as well earlier on this season.
I mean, two of those 3 goals that Liverpool got against us, one of them was a worldie, and nobody was saving that, not even Danny Ward. I jest. And the third one hit the post and went in, and obviously if it hits the post, it could go either way. But Kate, look, Everson's gone to Stoke till the end of the season. Danny Ward's being linked with either Sheffield United or Cardiff City. Stolchak, again, I saw his performance yesterday and thought, well, look, if Hermansen gets injured or gets a red card, whatever, I have no worries about him stepping up. I was more worried about him getting injured yesterday and Danny Ward coming on, to be honest with you.
No, you're being silly.
Am I?
But yeah, I agree. I think the B team, everybody's under the same Enzo mentality, Enzo logic, and Enzo engagement, which is the word we've spoken about before, which is massive in sport. That Enzo has this ability, seems to have this ability where, yeah, you're right, Dave. Where the message gets across loud and clear, and he's empowering players. And empowerment and confidence is half the battle in sport. If you believe you can, you probably will. So that's kind of the mentality that you put in. Whereas with Brendan, there was always that just seed of doubt thread throughout the whole team and the whole squad. And the seed of doubt is absolutely the opposite in sport. And you've seen what it's done to Wilf, having a good manager pre-Brendan, a good time with Brendan turned bad, and then now a complete 180 again with someone who's believed in him and brought out the best in him. So the coaching that's going into all of the players, the whole 25-man squad, and the youngsters, it's obviously filtering through to the young coaches as well, is just phenomenal. And it's great. It's great for us because we, for the first time in ages, we've got a few pickings, and we've still got Alves and Braybrook to come back through. We've not had that in what feels like forever. With the money that we put into the grassroots side of the club, it needs to bear some fruit at some point, doesn't it?
It does. And talking of that, Dave, I mean, Chowdhury, he was Alan, who does my man of the match. He goes to the games. I think you probably know him, Neil.
Yeah.
He chose Chowdhury as his man of the match. And we were that close to letting him go, weren't we? But what I want to say is, very quickly, because we talked a lot about the transfer window yesterday on the transfer show, but if we don't sign anybody in this window, Dave, I will not be that bothered because, and like I said, if you read if you check the BBC webpage out tomorrow about Leicester City, bbc.com/LCFC.com, I do say in that that if the January transfer window, to me, is you're overcharged for players that you only really need for a few months, maybe to cover injuries. And if you're going to bring anybody in, they've got to be better than what we've got. Is there anybody out there that is better than what we've got now? I would say look at the table, and it's very unlikely.
Yeah. Well, I think we said last week, didn't we, that we don't really need anybody. For the first time in forever, we actually don't need any new players at Christmas. I mean, there are strikers scoring goals. The West Brom lad, is it, and one or two others. But so what? We're all scoring goals, the whole team. So it's great.
That very nicely leads me. Thank you very much, Dave. I was almost like I wrote that link and sent it over to you. We're going to look at Enzo's striker conundrum. Neil, at the start of the season, I think it's fair to say Vardy and Nacho were his 1 and 2 up front. Vardy, and this is the problem with Jamie Vardy, is that when he does get injured, because of the age, I know if I cut my finger at my age, it takes me 10 times as long as it did when I used to mend than I did when I was 19. It's how it's just getting old. And Nacho, before sort of he went off, injured himself, hadn't scored in 6. Daka comes in, who we all thought would be often, sold in this window, and scores like he was been doing it every week. And then Cannon, who we when we bought was injured, and we hadn't really seen him other than the odd 10 minutes here and 5 minutes there, comes on and he's scoring for fun. And suddenly you're looking and saying, okay, you can see why he's bought Cannon. I mean, he's big, he's powerful, but where he took his, like Kate said earlier, that goal at the weekend was really, really nice. But Daka as well. these are if they're on form, surely we've got to hold on to those. Well, obviously we're going to hold on to Cannon, but it's a nice conundrum for Enzo to have. But what do you think's his answer?
Whatever the answer is and who he puts on up front, it just shows you that A, the recruitment works, and B, the system works. Because we know last season we were reliant on James Maddison, we're relying on Harvey Barnes to get us out of trouble. And when these players were injured, we would just go, can you hurry up? Because we only have that one option. Now, we talk about a striker conundrum because the strikers score goals. Our top goal scorer is now a winger. And the second top goal scorer is Ken Dewsbury-Hall, who's a midfielder. So the role of a striker isn't one that even though the system works, the role of the strikers are scoring goals. We aren't as heavily reliant on Jamie Vardy, for example, in 2016, just to get after we won the league. Just Jamie Vardy just nicks a winner out of nowhere, even though we've got that in our locker. So the way that football, I've loved Enzo because the way that I see football is completely different now. Where you're having wingers playing in, you've probably got Fatah, who's got another few levels to come up. Mavadidi's getting goals, Ken Dewsbury-Hall's getting goals, Cassaday's getting goals now. So we aren't when we say a striker, we think, as I always used to think, well, there's where the majority of the goals would be. But that's why even the conundrum, whoever comes in, the system works and everybody's buying into it. So even if it's a conundrum, I'm quite happy with whoever he puts in because I trust the recruitment and also I trust the system because it is working.
Kate, Nacho dropping down the pecking order.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think he's had a really good run, and we've seen many a times what he can do and can't do, and that's just football, isn't it? That's sport. Jamie's going through the same thing, but that's age related. You just gradually, he's had his chance for me, Nacho, and he is up there with the most frustrating player in our squad to watch, just because there's a potential that he cannot reach. And it drives me absolutely insane. So I'm glad that someone like Cannon and Daka has had a turn, of course, because it might even bring Nacho on a bit. But if ever since you've kind of said he might be going, or there's rumours swirling around that he might go, every time I've seen him play, I can almost feel that in his play. I think this will be his last few months with us, and I think he'll go. But fair play to Enzo for what he's done with Daka. He's still not my preferred choice. I would still have Cannon and then Vardy when he's fit. But we've got to get used to life without Vardy at some point, haven't we? Which is just going to be a sad day.
Yeah.
Dave, this has been your beef most of the shows is the striker position. And let's not get too excited, though, Dave, about Daka and Cannon. I mean, they've Cannon's only sort of he scored in 2 consecutive games. He's only had 2 starts. Let's judge him more, but you can only judge him on what he's done. He's been given the chance, and my God, he's taken it. It's the same with Daka as well. Are we typical fans? Are we getting too excited too soon? Probably,
yeah, but that's what we do, isn't it? But I think the beauty of it is that we don't need a striker. Man City won the league without a striker. It's interesting that we're sort of doing that. Was it Dewsbury-Hall and Mavadidi scored what? Must be getting on for 20 goals, the 2 of them. That's pretty impressive for a midfielder and a winger. I mean, I've never known that before, even when Mahrez was at his top.
We're less reliant on the one striker, aren't we?
Yeah, and that confuses the opposition big time. So maybe that's the way it is. Maybe we will get a strike, but I don't think we'll buy one for the hell of it. Sorry, Kate, was I talking that much shit? I just think we're not in panic mode now, and I think like most good teams, it'll have to be the right player. Whereas under Brendan, I mean, your hero Vestergaard. Well, what was the point? I mean, okay, he's doing well now. No, I'm not knocking it now, but he didn't play him.
No. He didn't fit his style, did it? Before he bought him, and I don't.
Why sign him in the first place then?
Well, this is what Rob Tanner said to him, wasn't it? And his reply to Rob Tanner was, he does fit into my style of play. I think
Yeah.
not. I don't think Vestergaard will be our first choice in that position. Should we get promoted, I have to be honest with you. But look,
we're a
that's all
team
about-
now. We're a team.
I think he is. I genuinely think he is, because considering what it is, I've talked to a couple of people about this as well, and considering how we play, and Cody can come in and step in that position in a back three, but you can get either person alongside to do the legs works for him. If you watch, Vestergaard isn't sprinting everywhere. He's kind of like, right, I'll marshal it. In the same way that a central defensive midfielder doesn't have the qualities that Harry Winks does. They're not big, they're not strong, but the way that the system works, a Vestergaard can work if you've got speedy wingers either side. Now, if you've got 3 Vestergaards, you're in trouble. But if you have one of them, you can afford to have the other 2 that does all the running for them. So if you watch, James Justin and Callum Doyle and Walt Fast will push up higher in the pitch and let Vestergaard just pick whoever he wants out.
Yes, yeah, and he does it very well. You're not 100% convinced about the Great Dane, are you, Kate?
I am at the minute. I just think in the Premier League it's a different ball game completely. The pace is it's a couple of yards, isn't it? The pace, the pressing will be a lot higher as well. So if we hang Vestergaard back like we're doing at the minute, we're in quite a cushy position where we can do that at the moment against Championship opposition. But all that will mean for the Premier League is that the opposition can push up higher. And then you're more at risk of leaving a one-on-one situation when we all know how that's going to end up if the one person for us is Vestergaard. So I just think the days of Gary Pallister, Steve Bruce, Philippe Albert, I think those defenders need to be left in the 90s.
God, Philippe Albert, where did you pull that one from?
He was part of my Newcastle favourite team. But those older school defenders that don't have the pace and athletic ability, I think
Sad times.
are slowly getting etched out the game in the Premier League.
You need a big guy at centre half to kick some shit.
Oh, I used to love it. Jerry Taggart, could you see it now? A Jerry Taggart player in the Prem. I mean, he never looked young, did he?
Well, Walshy wouldn't play anymore, would he? I mean,
it's those
he'd
type
be on
of
10
players.
minutes. Yeah.
They're so useful if you have that system. But I just don't think you get away with it in the Prem anymore. That's my only. I love Vestergaard at the minute. He's brilliant. I think he's confident, and I'm so pleased for him as well because he's had a tough old time, and he's a young man still. He doesn't look it on the pitch, but he's under 30, isn't he? And I'm really pleased for him, and I'm glad that he's decided to stay and try his best for us because I genuinely think he does. But
I know I do gush about him, but I think it's because of how he was treated under the previous regime that he wasn't given the chance. And everybody sort of got onto his back and said how bad he was, and yet we hadn't really seen him play to work out that he was bad.
We had Chris.
And he couldn't defend himself. He couldn't say, actually, this has gone on behind the scenes. I've been screwed over because Brendan led the narrative. And when you lead the narrative, the media then and fans draw what they think is happening because no one's saying any different. And Brendan did poor there.
That's a big thing, Kate. They trust the manager now. So important. If you trust the manager, you'll do as he says and you'll buy into it. Nobody trusted Rodgers after the first game of the season, I don't think.
He just threw everybody. He just goes, it's not my fault. He just had a massive ego on him. And he went, every single other person in this club is the problem, not me.
And global warming.
Absolute hellhole of toxicity. And that's basically what happened the entire season. At Brighton, he had to go at the fans, even though we lost 4-1.
He soon cleared off, though, didn't he? He didn't hang around to take the blame. No.
Yeah.
At Brentford at home, the first game, I mean, he blamed the weather. So not only the people in the club, but the Met Office.
Apparently, when Brendan Rodgers left, all the bus services in Leicester doubled because the drivers knew that if they went out, they wouldn't be running over Leicester City players that Brendan had thrown under them.
I mean, looking back, we knew there's a problem, didn't we, from day one? And then the Southampton home game, which I think was our next home game, that was disaster as well. But nobody really started doing too much about it. I mean, he says, blame the crowd. Well, hang on, we put up with this shit for 6 months.
More than 6 months.
Well, yeah, it was the season
ever
before.
Since the Forest game. Ever since the Forest game, I was like, that was a turn. I think we had a conversation, didn't we, Chris, about and at that time you were like, give him more time. I'm like, I want to, but I've just seen it's gone sour now, and he's lost.
It was awful. That game was awful.
Awful. That was for me. Is that so? Just in general, even if you've been at work, when everything's going well, you just kind of like, right, I'll let it go. But when everything goes bad, you need your management to step up and go, right, this is the plan. This is the shit we're in. This is what we need to just get out of it. And Brendan just went, not my problem. I didn't get the players I wanted. So he just threw a tantrum, basically.
And he's doing it now.
I just say, yeah, he is. Yeah. I saw the last interview, or one of the interviews over Christmas, and I thought, hang on, that sounds very familiar. That's what you did with us.
But the difference you get with someone that cares, and I always feel like the players are protected a bit with Enzo. Like they've only just started coming closer to the fans when we win. They were very much arm's length, like wouldn't really come past the penalty area. And now they're sort of being a little bit more open with some of their interviews that they're doing. Like Winks was raving about his time at Leicester. Like Enzo's really protected them from the press and himself. Like I completely understand why he would do it as well. But he seems like a wise man in lots of ways, and how he's operating. Everything's purposeful and on purpose.
Yeah, he learnt a lot, didn't he? In one season as assistant.
Well, maybe Pep learnt off Enzo. You never know.
Maybe, yeah.
Yes.
Look at Pep now; it's all falling apart. Now Enzo's left.
You can't have him back.
I mean, let's just say, I mean, as much as we all moan about Brendan, we did have some good, a few good seasons. Well, probably half his time at Leicester.
One and a half good seasons, yeah.
You know, but look, let's move on before the bell end takes over the show. As in, not in Dave, I mean as in Brendan. Fatimu's AFCON decision. Suddenly, our AFCON position has changed around. We were due to lose more players than our nearest rivals put together. Now, obviously, indeed, he's not going. I haven't heard the latest on Kelechi. Is he going? Is he not going? Does anybody know?
Not heard.
It's just been radio silence, isn't it?
Yeah, what? I mean, you know, at the moment he's injured, but
I think he'd go if he could.
I think you'd all want to represent your country, but for Tawu here, I mean, look, we all saying let's go and buy him. Enzo's sort of saying, well, hang on, you know, we've got him on loan with an option to buy anyway. Let's just keep him on his toes for the rest of the season, which is probably the right thing to do. But what do you think of his decision? I mean, he wasn't going to necessarily be a starter over there, and to go over there and sit on the bench, and he decided, now I want to stop and prove my worth to Leicester, Neil.
I think it shows you, considering he is a loan player, we've got an option to buy, that if he goes, look, I like it here, I want to make this a permanent move. That shows commitment as well from the ownership and also from his commitment to the club. He will have his opportunity to represent. I'm no doubt that he will represent Ghana at the World Cup with his development and some of the players that are ahead of him. He at his age, he will develop, but he's in a right spot to develop with with a squad at the moment, and he's looked fantastic in the last few games as well that he's played. He's looked absolutely unbelievable. I just want his numbers to come up to see what because if you look at him objectively, for somebody that doesn't support Leicester, they'll go and they'll look at his number and go, he's not that good. But we've seen ourselves like what a magnificent player he can be. And what I've really enjoyed is he just plays with a smile on his face. He genuinely enjoys his system. And he's shown that there's a level of commitment that he's got to Leicester City, even though he's only a young player. Yes, he's only a loan player. So that in itself is a massive win in my book. And the fact that he wants to stay here, make this move permanent, and then he can think about, well, the World Cup's coming up soon. Well, AFCON's coming up next year. So I'm all for it massively. And the fact that he's not going is only a benefit to us. But and as you imagine, representing your country must be a massive, massive thing. And the fact that he's wanted to sacrifice that to get his move, to think, and also it shows about at 19 years old, he's thinking about the longer term rather than just going, I want to represent my country now.
And Kate, I mean, it would have been a huge gap if he'd gone, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like he's almost a bit like the heartbeat of the team in terms of charisma and personality. Like we all draw from him a bit, don't we? Fans and players alike. He is really infectious with how he plays, and I just think it shows a certain level of maturity from him. He'll have spoken to Enzo about it, and I think he'll have spoken to the Ghana guy about it to kind of weigh up his options properly. But there was little point going to Ghana as a 19-year-old. Probably not playing, spending a month out in the cold and coming back out of form because you've not played proper competitive football for the best part of a month. So it's a real mature decision. It's a risk because you've basically said no to your international team. But I'm with Neil. I think his time will come for Ghana for sure. And in this particular situation, you completely understand why he has to pick his day job over that, because this is his livelihood and his future, and it's potentially the biggest break of his life. It's life-changing if he can get a Premier League deal. That's what every footballer's after in the world, really. So you cannot at all blame the guy for any outsiders out there that might wonder about his decision. And he's clearly loving his football, and when you find a team that fits with you, you want to make it last as long as possible and stay.
Dave, I mean, my thoughts at the moment are 18 months down the line, 60, 80 million to Man United, Chelsea. You know it's going to happen, don't you, unfortunately?
Sadly, yeah. But I think he also had word with Vardy, because when he got in the England squad, he sat on the bench for so long and got pissed about. And you think, what was the point? I mean, he should have been in that team straight away, but he wasn't. So I think he learnt, and he retired from England pretty quick, didn't he? And I bet he had a word and said, "Look, it's up to you, mate, but this is what happened to me. If you want a contract, then."
Do you think that would have happened? And I know, as you
Yeah,
when you move on to the bell end, but
players would.
Well, I say, do you think that would have happened? What Fatawu would have done had Brendan been here, or do you think he would have said, "Just get me away from here. I want to go to Africa for 4 months"?
I don't think we'd have got Fatawu, to be honest.
Well, no, but you know the point I'm making.
I know the point you're making, and I think you're right, because if it's a miserable place to go every day and train and play, and you're getting mixed messages from the manager, especially as a teenager, you know, you need to know exactly what your job is. But if you don't get that, why would you want to be there?
Yeah.
If he goes to the Nations Cup and plays really well, whether he gets on or not, you know, he's got limited time to play well. And if he does that, clubs will look at him and say, hang on, he's decent. So, yeah, he wouldn't have. But, yeah, we wouldn't have got him in the first place. We wouldn't have anybody with flair like this.
No.
And we're looking balanced for the first time in forever. Even back to when we won the Premier League, we had Mahrez and Albrighton. Mahrez was, in terms of technical ability, a lot better, but the balance that everything there's a certain like solidity where even before there was Harvey Barnes, and there wasn't that same player. Now we can come at different sides, and it showed by the goals are shared as well. So we're not just, for example, last year reliant on Maddison to get us out of trouble and drag us up the pitch. So that shows that the system works, and they've put the right person for the right positions.
He lost interest, didn't he? Well into the seat, or halfway through, you know, where he's just hanging around on the left and not getting involved, and you could see it. You know, it was horrendous. But now, well, a player knows if you don't perform, he's out of the game. He won't play,
and vice versa.
Yeah.
If you're playing well, we'll keep you in the team, no matter who's on the bench.
Well, you saw that, with Cody and people like that. I mean, they didn't get back in, did they? And he has done now, but only, you know, for an FA Cup game. You might struggle for league games. Who knows? It's good. It's good.
Neil, I mean, people say, "Oh, we're losing all these players to AFCON, and we shouldn't be doing that." It's our own fault for signing them, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's just part and parcel of the game.
That's what I mean. You have to accept it, don't you? You can't. There's no good moaning about it.
Yeah, and also, you like at the beginning when we were signed for Tyler, that would have been a consideration. The club aren't stupid. They would have known that, again, he's on the fringes of it. He was in the team beforehand. This is going to be an option that he would leave us. So that's why they went out and got Yunus as well. So you've got a different option on that right-hand side. McAteer, if he wasn't injured, would be a player in that right position as well. Or Mark Albrighton could be there. So it's not like we've got him and then nobody else. We've got other people that can fill in different ways. So the club knew that, and that's why I thought we'd get one or the other. Then we got both in terms of Unison and Fatal. Normally we look at both options and we go, yeah, one of them will come in. I genuinely didn't expect both of them to come in.
No. I'm going to go on now to a few points from the viewers, as they say. I just want to touch on. I don't know if you've heard the news or not, and it's something that Boris said in the chat here about Vestergaard being the new Beckenbauer. But I've got to say R.I.P. to Franz Beckenbauer, who passed away today. He was a defender, wasn't he, Dave?
Yeah, classic. He cost us a 70 World Cup, I'm afraid. Or Alf Ramsey may have done by bringing Charlton off, because he was marking Beckenbauer to stop him playing, which he did for 60 minutes, 70 minutes. And I think it was in Mexico, wasn't it? So it was so hot that Charlton had to come off, and it all went wrong.
Apparently his hair was getting in the way.
Plus the fact we had Benetti in goal.
Well, you know when you got a cat in goal, Dave, you know what it's like.
There's only one cat.
Yeah. Any memories of him, Kate, or was it a bit before you?
A bit before me. One of my dad's favourite players. But yeah, a legend of the game, definitely.
He glided, didn't he? He glided through the pitch. I mean, it was just incredible. Just amazing.
And there's a lot of there was sort of him, Pele, and Bobby Moore, where they were like the three, weren't they? And they seem to have that respect for each other that players just don't seem to have these days.
I can't lie, I have no idea. This was way before my time, but also I only really started watching Leicester. I didn't really pay attention to football. I was kind of like on in the background. My family's not really into it. So it was kind of like watch the World Cup final. Didn't quite understand what was happening, but I knew they were great players. Like even watching Thierry Henry, I was like, yeah, he's a good player, but I don't understand the art of football. It was just kind of like players running around on the pitch at that period of time. So I take your words for it, but I just at that time it just didn't comprehend to me.
But Dave, he was a sort of that general in defence, wasn't he?
We were lucky to have players like that: Charlton, Beckenbauer, Moore, Pele, Best. Dennis Law, all those sort of players. We could name every team in the first division, every player in the team.
I could, back in the 90s, I could tell you everybody. Absolutely everybody, yeah.
Well, you
Did you have a sticker book, Kate?
She still
I didn't have a sticker book, no. But when girls at my school had photos of Tate that all over their room, I had Alan Shearer. And that isn't a word of a lie. I absolutely adored him. I adored Newcastle. I had Newcastle shirts, the lot. And Leicester were my second team back then. And then when Alan Shearer retired, that was it. I was out of love with Newcastle. And then in came Leicester properly.
I think I had Raquel Welsh.
Did you?
On my wall.
Good choice, Dave, to be honest. She's a pretty little thing.
Yeah,
I had Cheryl Ladd, and I was made to take it down by my then girlfriend, but was to be my wife. As soon as I started going out, she made me take it down off the wall.
Well, yeah, to be fair, if you were married, I can understand that.
I weren't married at the time.
It's a bit awkward.
I don't think she was too impressed when I turned around and said, throw it out. I said, well, I'm not throwing it out in case we finish. We finished, she's going back up again.
You're such a charmer.
I know. And you wonder why we're not together now. Look, let's. I knew how to treat a woman. Neil, let's just say this came from John earlier. Just watching Wigan Man United, how on earth is Evans in that team? Should we have tried to keep him? Maybe would have helped just to stop those silly late goals. Thoughts? I think I know which way this is going, but
no, and no. I think he's meant. Good player. I think on the last game of the season when he was one that goes, well, the players said their goodbyes. I remember that very vividly, him saying that. It was on BBC Radio Leicester. All the players said their goodbyes now. We've just been relegated. Like what? It's not like we're not saying it's not school holidays. We're not just breaking up and then we'll see you guys in a few months' time. I think he's a good player, but somehow he wasn't fit for us. And he was always fit for Northern Ireland somehow. And now he's gone to Man United and he's playing a regular set of games. I don't think he's a bad player. I don't have anything against him, but it was his time to move on. We needed to use that money to move on, and also he's done a right good job going from the relegated team to Man United. I don't have anything for him. I don't have anything against him. I'm just relatively neutral to the whole thing.
Kate, it probably says a lot about Man United, more so than Leicester, that they were that desperate. It was a sort of player that they needed to re-sign, and he's now a regular starter.
I mean, we got Johnny from West Brom, didn't we? And I couldn't. It was one of those moments. I had a similar moment with Les Ferdinand. When Les Ferdinand came to us, because he lived in Shearer's shadow for so long, when he played for us, I was like, wow, he is phenomenal. And I was a little bit like that with Evans. I was like, how have Man United let this guy go? And he's gone back to them. They're the club that didn't want you, that were happy to farm you out the backyard, and they didn't want you. And it's really frustrating for me, that we've looked after him, we've nurtured him. I think it would have been different if he'd have won the league with us. I think he'd have had different emotions with Leicester. But really disappointing to see that there was no sort of sadness or thank you or acknowledgement of the Premier League career that we gave him back, because he left West Brom when they got relegated, and he wasn't fit for the last 2 years, was he? This chronic plantar fasciitis, apparently, that's incurable. Well, all of a sudden it's curable, and he's playing every week, and it just shows what an environment Man United has become, quite frankly. And good luck to him.
Dave, Manchester City were offering something like 13 million or something for him from West Brom in January. They wouldn't let him go because they were fighting relegation. I think we got him for a couple of million when they got relegated. I remember watching his first game for us the following season, and my God, I thought he's past it. But then again, he went on to prove his worth. But I don't blame him going to Man United. Look, anybody at that age that are given the chance to play in the Champions League and at the top of the Premier League, but it does show how desperate Man United are, doesn't it? And
common denominator, isn't it? Him and Rodgers, they're Irish. What do you expect? They jumped ship.
Allegedly,
they're too up Man United, by the way.
The racist views of Dave are not necessarily those of Leicester.
I mean, it's true though, isn't it? It's true. Why was he not sticking around to help us get back?
Would we have wanted him though? Would I?
Well, probably not.
To be honest with you, I know Craig absolutely couldn't stand him. He just thought he did.
It was our decision to get rid of him, wasn't it?
Doing now
should have been our decision, not his.
Yeah, but he was out of contract, wasn't he?
That's why. And he must have been expensive as well.
Yeah.
And if you'd have asked us at the time without even knowing Man United was on the table, I'd have just said no thanks. He's too injury prone.
Yeah,
I'm not sorry.
But he needs to move on.
Yeah, but it's an indictment, isn't it? What you've both said, that he seemed to be fit enough for Ireland, but not enough to play for Leicester.
Now he's done a good run of games to Man U now. Like
he's been injured.
Phenomenal, really. It's
a couple of games, is it?
No plan to fishitis in sight.
Pardon?
No plan to fishitis, whatever he had in sight.
No.
Oh, it's now 2-0.
It's a miracle,
by the way.
Probably seen a statue there of a lady or something and cured him.
Yeah, but I mean, like I say, he's gone. But I agree with you, Neil. No, 100% no, or whatever.
Don't forget, you don't like me saying it, but when we bottled it, he cost us that game against Man United. I'm not sure about the Tottenham one. I can't really remember. All right, when we blew it, wasn't it?
I prefer to be blown than bottled, if you remember.
But I mean, he wasn't that reliable at the end, or even in the middle.
I understand that, and again, that's individual games. But when he was called upon, when him and Soyuncu, when we were thinking about the 80 million that we sold Maguire for, he marshalled that back line, and he was that Rolls Royce at times. We definitely got. That's why he did leave in a bit of a bad way, but that's why I'm like quite neutral. We got our money's worth out of him. We need to treat it like a business transaction. We got what we wanted for him. He did what he needed to do for us. He helped us get up to that top four. And if you're playing him and who was the backup keeper, I can't even remember who the backup was at that time. We have them two defenders. They did
playing
well
sideways though, or backwards. They have
I guess
no vision to go
Soyuncu, he got the
forward.
best out of Soyuncu as well because he goes,
Yeah,
"You
he
go
did
do the Larry
do
stuff. I'll
something.
just stay here and marshal the back
Yeah.
line."
Yeah, he used to really shout at Stunchu and keep him in check a lot. I think he's probably responsible quite a lot for Stunchu's development in the game because he really came on and he looked a wild card and he's still got that in him. But yeah, I agree. I think Johnny Evans was the captain of the team for a lot of the games because he was a marshal. He had that maturity and you could see he was a good pedigree when he came to us for sure.
And we
And
were
let's
looking.
be honest with you, like you say, offered a new contract, but would you want to stay with the way that the club was, at the end of last season?
Yeah. You don't know what went on, do you? He could have had some bad experience with Brendan or whatever. You just don't know what's gone on. So it's best for everybody that he's not here anymore.
And at that time, we can look at it in hindsight. The club was in free fall because we didn't know who the manager was. We didn't know which player is going to stick around. We didn't know what was happening. Because I was asked on a show, it was like, "Do you think you'll come straight back up?" And my genuine answer is, I don't know. Because I remember what the championship was like when I used to when we were last in it. And B, we had no idea who we knew Maddison had gone. We knew Harvey Barnes was probably on his way out, and we knew Tillemans was leaving and people like them, but we didn't know who the manager was, what tactics were going to be, what squad's going to be here. We just had no idea. That Enzo's done such a good job at taking this and turning it on its head. This year could have been a lot worse. And you look at, I'm not saying we were going to be Sunderland, but Sunderland got back-to-back relegations. And that wasn't that long ago. So it shows you how bad mismanagement was. And we were mismanaged last year. And the fact that we've turned it around, I think, is a testament to the club.
5 months. 5 months.
Yeah. Right, we're going to round it up now with Dave's spot, and we'll do that straight after this.
The TalkSport Fan Network is the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts,
including Leicester Till I Die, independent analysis and reaction for the Foxes faithful.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
Unbeatable club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Follow the podcast on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Indeed. It is, we've called it various things. Like I say, Dave's, I can't remember what we called it, Dave, but it was something that wasn't very nice.
Like
It was your Brussels sprout sausages, wasn't it? We had the other day actually I was watching that. I rewatched that back, and there is only 9 sausages. I don't know where that 10th one went. I think Kate may know, but we'll save that for another day. And Monday Mayhem, but we're going to call it Chat Shit Get Banged moving forward because I like to.
I love the picture of Bardi, by the way. That's just classic.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, I saw that. Basically, Neil, this is just where we go completely off topic. We talk about anything that comes to Dave's mind. God help us. There's where his mind goes is nothing, and it's just a laugh and a joke, and breaks it up and gives us something different to talk about that's not football. Dave, what's your topic this week, Dave?
Top 10 most returned Christmas gifts of 2023.
Oh, the top 10 are out already.
Yeah.
God, people haven't hung about returning, have they?
No. But before I do that, I was just thinking of another poster I had on my wall in the bedroom. And it was, do you remember the top of the Pops albums?
Yes.
When they had naked women on the front?
No.
They were naked.
Yeah, well, they were pretty close.
They were bikini clad, unless you got one of those hard rubbers and was trying to get them off.
I didn't know what they were in them days, Chris. Yeah, I just remember her. Really nice blonde lady. Anyway, so the most returned Christmas gift this year. Any ideas? I won't drag it out.
Jewelry, a necklace, jewelry.
That's good, but it's not right.
It's good, but it's not right.
Oh, shoes. Yeah, shoes, slippers. Yeah, that was the number one return.
Really?
Gift. Yeah.
Wow.
How do you get that wrong? Or, like the size? Anyway.
Well,
I presume it's because of the size. And size matters, Dave, doesn't it?
Well, I think possibly. It depends what style they are, Chris.
This is true. This is
how
true.
you look in them.
What else could we return? A jumper.
That was number 6.
Oh, we need Family Fortunes back. We need our survey says
Uh-uh.
I tell you, that number 2 is a classic because I've been guilty by my wife for some of these things in the past.
I didn't think. Sausages?
It doesn't come under jewelry like earrings or something.
No, you overestimate me, Kate.
Oh.
Underwear? Lingerie?
Kitchen appliances.
Just in general, I thought it was a specific one.
I bought a set of saucepans one year.
Don't buy your wife kitchenware. That's number 1 rule of having a wife at Christmas.
Well, she wanted.
You can, but you don't buy it for Christmas. Just buy it for the house.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a bugger to wrap up as well, I'll tell you.
In fact, don't you chuff your hand head with it?
You know what's funny is that this Christmas, somebody where I was out with my families for Christmas bought somebody a saucepan, not a saucepan, a frying pan, and it was wrapped up. And it's like there's certain things that when you wrap them up, you can't disguise them.
No.
Football's one, frying pan is another.
A bike.
Well, no, having said that, it could have been a tennis racket, of course. Let's not, but
I think tennis rackets are different round your end, Chris.
Yeah.
Not really that size.
Oh dear.
The girls bought us a Teflon 3-in-1 air fryer, but that was in a box, so that was all right. Anyway, number 3 was
You're
video
all
games.
romantic, you aren't you? Really?
That was my daughters, not me. I didn't buy her anything this year. Under instruction. Video games. I didn't know you had video games. Do they mean the old, this sort of thing?
Yeah, I'm guessing.
Yeah. They were.
How's it go, Dave? How's it go?
It's like a gamer Dave does, doesn't he? Experienced gamer.
You can tell.
Like that.
It's all the
grommet. That's cheese grommet, that is.
I used to like the ones like this. What was that? Where you went along the beach and, a girl with her hair flowing and a guy driving with glasses on. What was that?
Baywatch.
No.
A computer game?
Yeah, it's probably a Commodore. It's probably a Commodore, to be fair.
I had a Commodore and an Amiga.
Was it Beach something? Something like that. Anyway, you went through different terrains anyway, I'll move on.
What else?
Can I just say on that point, I am old enough to remember playing, was it called Pong? Which was basically the tennis
the
game
first
where
one.
you went
Yeah.
side to side.
No,
That was the first guy I can remember. I'm that old. I remember playing that, and I was absolutely
1978 or 79.
I was babysitting for my brother. I mean, the baby could have cried all night. I would not have heard it. And where the time went, I don't know.
I know. And you could get it going through a little hole, couldn't you, as well? The ball. Remember? So instead of just playing each other over the net, you just... Anyway.
There's a gap in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's more strategical.
You're not as young as you look, are you?
I'm 107.
Number 4, sweets. Can you believe that? Sweets. Yeah.
Ungrateful. That's ungrateful.
No,
but
I can imagine you taking bounties back, Dave, but I don't think you can take sweets.
Yes.
But also, sweets are great because you can just repackage them to somebody else.
Yeah, and
what's the
share
point in
them with
returning?
people that you see over Christmas. They don't go back.
Also, what are they? $3.99?
We're not saying these are normal people, but this is just the statistic. Number 5. Get this: candles.
Yeah, there's a lot of candles bought. You see my house at Christmas, and there's not my house, the family Christmas. There's a lot of candles between the girls. Secret Santas.
They don't go back.
Same thing as the sweets.
No, you can pass them on.
There's a lot of hurt feelings out here for no reason for these poor people that have bought these gifts and they've got returned.
Kate sat there going, "Got that, had that, had that."
He's wearing the slippers now.
Number 6 is clothes and gym.
Hey. Especially got a candle on the desk next to her.
Yeah.
Have you got your gym wear on?
I've got that. Let's go.
Oh,
there we go.
Nice.
Hang on. Let me get my frying pan out. Sorry, tennis racket. Sorry.
So that's 8. That's number 6, clothes and gym wear. 7, which I didn't think people bought anymore, DVDs.
I didn't
I
think
didn't know they got bought anymore, really.
No.
Perhaps they hadn't got a DVD player. That's why they took them back.
Yeah.
Probably.
So also, it's like if somebody gives me a DVD, I'm going, you don't. Why?
Yeah.
Because you then got to ask for the
Just get me a
receipt.
Netflix like gift card or something like that. That's
Perhaps
more
old
useful.
people. It's old people, Neil. That's what it is. we don't realise that DVDs are so yesterday.
Does it say whether it's VHS or Betamax?
Moving on, number 8 again, which is quite surprising. Toddler clothing.
Okay, that's more understandable if they don't fit
Yeah.
with the kids. That is more understandable.
Size-wise, I suppose. If you...
I can take it back and get the money.
Sorry, doesn't fit my kid. He's 25.
Take it back and get the money.
Can you see what we're just talking about? That who knows what an hoodie is?
A what?
Yeah.
What's a onesie? An hoodie.
Yeah, I know
Hoodie.
what one is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter sent me a picture after Christmas because she was going back to work on the 27th, whenever it was, but she was working from home, and she sent me this picture, and I said, "What the?" And I mean, she was surrounded by this thing, and I went, "What the hell are you wearing?" She said, "An hoodie." I went, "What the hell? I've never heard of the damn thing."
Oh, they're
Yeah.
all the rage. I need to get myself one, to be honest.
Yeah, Kathy's got
I'm
one.
just not down with the kids. Obviously,
You're not,
that's what it
mate.
is.
Say it after me. Hoodie.
No, it's an hoodie, isn't
No,
it?
Yeah, it's a
hoodie.
Hoodie.
No, well,
UDIE.
Down here it's a hoodie.
You live in posh Bognor.
Anyway,
There's a contradiction in terms.
number 9 is glassware. Yeah, exactly.
Again,
That
can
was
be repackaged.
Yeah.
Given
All of
something
these
else.
things can be repackaged, can't they? Really, it's
You don't work for the recycling unit, do you? The local authority.
I wouldn't, but if they do want to sponsor the channel,
Yeah.
I'm open to it.
Yeah, good point. And number 10 was makeup. Now that seems a bit weird, but maybe it's not.
Yeah, you would. If you get a wrong lippy, that's going back because that's never getting worn.
It shouldn't be on this program. You get a lot of
you don't have that problem, Dave.
lot of lippy on here, I'll tell you.
Dave never has the wrong lippy.
So,
I remember before I married my wife, I bought what I thought was a lovely set of jewellery
ooh,
for Christmas, and she made me take it all back. She didn't like it.
you had to take it back.
Yeah, she made me take it back.
Oh, that's hard.
But I did learn from that because my wife is an identical twin, so everything I then bought, I ran past the sister first. And do you like this? And if the sister liked it, I knew she would.
I'd have made her take it back.
With no receipt.
No, exactly. Yeah, try and get your money back on that one, love.
Any more, Dave?
Well, I mean, do you want? You got 10.
Oh, did you do 10? Sorry, I'd lost count.
Is there any
I
other
noticed.
surprising ones on there? That you're like, why is that on there?
Well, sweets to me was a big surprise.
Sweets is weird.
That is a totally.
No
I
pictures
don't
of
get
Raquel
sweets.
Welsh.
So, mind you, there's a
No.
lot on there that I.
Sweets is a very well described chat shit get banged return present. If I was the owner of the sweet shop and you bought some sweets back, no, it's not happening.
I can understand if it's that
the pants that were too tight.
Yeah, in your dreams.
Yeah, that's the worst thing you want to do, isn't it? Open your Christmas present, it's underwear and it's small.
Yeah.
And it's your wife. Thank you.
What about selection boxes? Well, they'd be one.
That doesn't go back. I mean, you don't want everything that's in there necessarily, but they just get donated to other members.
Somebody in the family will eat them, won't they?
The underwear.
I'll send Dave my band.
Depending where you bought it from, of course.
Eat your pants. This was something we had a New Year's Day party, and somebody bought us these. And I don't like organic dark chocolate.
They're beautiful.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, I have all that all the time.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Never
believe
heard of
how
them, to be
nice
honest
it
with you.
tastes. No, I hadn't either.
Yeah, it's
thought that-
lovely chocolate.
Green and black, so I thought they made tents. Well, they do.
Chris gave me that, and I got him to return it.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, do you
with
only
This is
remember?
lovely.
You, Kate and Neil won't because you're babies. But you used to get the selection boxes that were in a stocking,
yeah.
and
Oh yeah, I used to get those. Yeah, from my nan.
Did you? Oh, you see those sorts of things we should still be able to
And I
get.
used to get a bit from my nan as well, a toffee with a hammer, which was great.
Oh.
No, I never got that.
Yeah, a little toffee
Were
hammer.
you
that
in
you
jail
just
at the
whack-
time when it was like
Shawshank
to break
Redemption.
out?
You love this one. My son-in-law, one of them, he used to get from his mother every year a box of, was it Newberry fruits or something like that? And he hates them, but he never had the guts to tell her he didn't like them. So every year they used to have these same present turning up, and he had to give them to somebody else because he couldn't deal with it.
Here we go then. Let me get that. The
Does she
worst
watch the show, Dave? Because she's found out now a really horrible way.
He doesn't even know who I am.
But all right then, let's go around. Neil, we'll start with you. Worst present you've ever received?
I think there was just a time where my brother just decided, do you know what? I'm just going to make everything a joke present. So I got like a popcorn outfit, like a fancy dress party. I got a chub roll from him. It was just like £20 worth of just nonsense. And I actually got him a nice present as well. So he goes, it's funny. And I went, it's not funny because I got you something nice. So I got a load of just nonsense, like, dog treats and stuff like that. That was a weird one, but nothing in particular. I think money is still a really good present, even though it doesn't seem like a lot of effort. But nowadays, everything's paid by card. Money, I think, goes a long way. Maybe cost of living crisis, things like that. But if you don't want to overthink it, give me some money. I'm more than fine with that.
My 4 kids this year, these days, kids, if they want something, they go out and buy it. You know, it's not like when I was growing up, like October onwards, wait till Christmas. My 4 kids this year all ended up with just money transferred into their account. But that's what they could get what they wanted because nobody could make their mind up what they wanted, and it was just easier. Kate, your worst ever present?
I don't think I've ever had a really horrible present.
What about them? What about them slippers?
I bought them myself, thanks.
Oh, did you?
Left of the cheek. I don't know. I think I've been quite fortunate. I've never really had anything that I've thought, oh my good God. I think I've been quite fortunate on that front. Yeah, I think I'm all right. What's yours, Dave?
I think when I was very young, I used to go around my auntie and uncle's Christmas Eve and stay with them. And my mum and dad come round, or we'd go back to our house on Christmas Day. And there was one year I got shed loads of presents, but they were all jumpers. So I kept unwrapping all these things, all these, the women used to knit in those days, didn't they? All these knitted jumpers. And then by the time the 8th one opened, not another bloody jumper, and threw it across the room. Unfortunately, that was the one my auntie who I was in bed with at the time and my uncle got for me.
Hang on. That was from your auntie who you were in bed with.
Yeah, I didn't mean it like that. I was 7 or something.
So you say.
and your Christmas stockings used to get. I always, for some reason, they must have used it.
Hello, Operation U-Tree.
I always had a bloody walnut at the bottom.
Did you?
A satsuma and a walnut.
I used to,
Lump
I
of
used to get
coal?
satsumas.
Yeah, no.
Satsumas is a thing, but what? Just the one walnut?
Just one, and I reckon it's the same one every year. I have no idea why.
Should
They
return
were a
it.
devil to open, though, weren't they?
Oh, I cracked it in the end.
What were they called? They were like, it was like a chocolate pyramid with like white fondant inside and a walnut on the top.
Walnut whip.
Walnut whip.
Walnut whips, yes. Now they were.
Oh, my mum loves a walnut whip.
Oh, hey.
That's a nickname
They're
for
old
them.
school, though. You don't see them anymore. Maybe in the pound shop sometimes.
So much
much
you
are they?
do not see. I tell you what, them pretty selection tin things these days, heroes and celebrations, they get smaller every damn year.
They do. They absolutely do.
And the sweets.
Yeah.
the actual size of them.
Yeah.
It's the marketing behind it, because they either do two things. Because of things that happen, like inflation, just the price goes up. You either make them smaller or you increase the price. Either way, people are pissed.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
I 1 year, you know, the Secret Santas used to work, or maybe you didn't. I got one year. I don't know who it's from because it was a secret, but it was a voucher for Woolworths or something when they were going. It was expired. It expired in November.
No wonder they kept it a secret.
Yeah, that's why.
They've just emptied the purse on the day thinking, shit, I've got Dave and I forgot to buy him a present.
Yeah. Oh,
what did I get last year that I can read?
Yeah. Oh, a Woolworths voucher. He'll like that.
Chris is getting a Wilco's voucher next Christmas.
I'm going to say, had they come bust at, I used to love Woolworths. I used to love their Christmas ad.
The pick and mix was great. The pick and mix was great.
Oh,
yeah, certainly was.
It was.
Hey ho.
Right, gentlemen and ladies, thank you so very much. I think we've covered everything. We will do the same again next week. Neil, thank you very much for popping on. I hope we've not scarred you too much. Your link is available in the description below. But again, just give everybody a shout out about where they can find you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, just Beyond the 90. So you see the logo here. But again, if you click down, you can find us at Beyond the 90. But yeah, thanks for having me on, Chris. A bit good fun. Quite enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming on, mate. Beyond the 90, great Leicester channel. Go over there, and you're not subscribed to it yet, do it straight away. All the best, mate. And come on, you
Chris.
foxes. Take care.
Nice to meet you, mate.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys. See you later.
Kate,
that's good.
Thank you very much for coming on. Reasonably clean today. Wasn't
reasonably
too
clean.
rude. Yes.
Yeah.
An adequate amount for the new year.
And what, sorry?
Adequate amount for the new year.
Yes, exactly. And we got to see your amazing slippers as well.
Oh.
I got so many pairs of slipper socks for Christmas because people know how much I hate having cold feet. If I go to anybody's house, I take my slippers. I'm that person. So I've got quite a lot of slippers this year, which is great.
I hate slippers, and I wear slipper socks or socks. But
I got slipper socks and slippers. Yeah, just great, Chris. Just great.
Yes. Oh, hang on, what's Dave getting off here?
Oh, look.
Oh, Dave, they look brilliant.
Yeah.
Hold it for a bit. Oh yeah.
I didn't get any this year. These are last year's. Yeah. But they're Velcro as well, which is good for my age.
You just got the sock on.
Poor show.
Well, it's a Christmas sock as well.
Well, it's a bit. You're on the cusp of being in bad luck if you're wearing Christmas stuff now. It's the 12 days of Christmas.
No, because I've washed it since, you know.
You still shouldn't wear Christmas stuff.
No, let me tell you, I've got to ask you this, and Dave will know the answer to this because he was probably, hopefully he was listening to the show this morning that I got up really, really early to do. How many days should you, or that's the maximum number of days you should wear pajamas for before you wash them? What's the maximum number of days?
Probably like 3 or 4.
Were you listening?
No.
It was 3. It was 3.
It?
Yes. But apparently there can be sweat and skin. And I love the fact that he said, and other substances. Now, what the substances was, I don't know.
We nearly got away with it. We got to the end of the show and we nearly did it.
Nearly did it.
It's an American scientist, of course. You know.
Called Jock.
And I won't tell you the other story that I brought up, which was about cleaning your belly button, but we'll leave that one for next week. Kate, thank you very much, as always, for coming on. Give yourself a shout out as to where people can find you.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Kate Blakey 40.
Kate Blakey 40, and she doesn't look a year over 30, does she? Kate,
how old's your dad, Kate?
He is 76 shortly.
Oh, okay, not too bad then.
Not too bad.
He is as old as you do.
He went to the 69 cup final, I think. Was it 69?
Yeah. But I was only a child.
I'm sure we did. Or was it 60? Whatever.
No, 69. 69.
Was it 69?
Yeah, we got relegated as well.
Oh,
I cannot believe that your poster boy was Alan Shearer.
Oh, honestly, it was unusual. Yeah, it wasn't. All my girl mates were like, "Who the hell's that?" Like, didn't follow football, and I was absolutely obsessed. I had videos. I had the shirts with Nuki Brown on the front. I had everything. I had all these posters. Had newspaper cuttings. Yeah, he was just my absolute hero. I loved him. Absolutely loved him.
So we don't do that anymore, do we?
No.
We do that.
That, and that? Was it that?
Wasn't that his celebration?
Oh yeah, that. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, though, I think we should probably leave Kate with this. If you're still with us, anybody watching, thank you very much for sticking by. And from the Newcastle fan, we'll say goodbye. Are you going on Saturday?
I am indeed. Yeah, I'll be there.
Who are Newcastle playing?
No.
We will speak on Saturday, Kate. Thank you.
No worries. All right. See you then. Take care, guys.
You look
Bye-bye.
after yourself Saturday.
I will do. Yeah, I will do.
Yeah.
See
All
you
right.
later.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, Kate. See ya.
It's Coventry, isn't it, on Saturday?
I know.
Could be interesting, but the weather's going to be absolutely there by all accounts. Dave, I know you don't have anything that you want people to follow you on.
Well, I thought about that. I thought we might as well do the Twitter, might we? At Surrey Hill, SRYHILS Radio.
There we go. That's how to follow Dave.
I think there must have been a shortage of letters when we set it up 10 years ago.
Well, at least it's snappier than the Facebook page for me. Surrey Hills Community Radio Breakfast Show News and Events. I mean, that's a real snappy title, isn't it?
Well, good, but the alternative was a nightmare.
Stay online because I want to have a quick one with you afterwards.
Right.
But thanks very much as always, Dave, and we'll do it all again next week.
See you soon. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Thanks to Dave, thanks to Kate, thanks to Neil, and thanks to everybody that was in the chat. And if you've been listening on the podcast, thank you so very much as well. I know there's only a few of you left in, but if you are still in, please do support the channel and do what it says there, which is basically like, share, subscribe, and all the rest, and all the others as well. Please do that. We were going to be back on Thursday when we'll be speaking to a gentleman from, I think it's Matt from Sky Blues Fan TV ahead of the return against Coventry. Are we going to get, I think, is it the third double that we're going to get this season? If we beat them, fingers crossed. It's Coventry. We've got to beat them. And talking of derbies, which we were earlier with Neil, of course, it is the M69 derby. And as Brad always says, Derby's not a derby unless it's got a motorway named after it. I will see you then at 7:00 on Thursday with Craig and Matt. Take care. Stay safe. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
The TalkSport Fan Network is the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts,
including Leicester Till I Die, independent analysis and reaction for the Foxes faithful.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
Unbeatable club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Follow the podcast on the TalkSport Fan Network.